Hey y'all, welcome to Conversations with Pela. It is Pela, and I believe it's Thursday morning. This week has been a blur. By Tuesday, I thought it should have been Friday. Um, so by blur, I don't mean a blur in a good way. I just mean it's been a long week. Uh, but before I get into this long week, let me tell you that today's conversation is brought to you by Utah Grown. And you can find out information about Utah Grown by going to utahgrown.co. If you are considering whether or not medical cannabis is a protocol you want to add to your wellness program, you can go to utahgrown.co and take a look at qualifying conditions and things of that nature and find education on what the program offers and how it could possibly be integrated into your life. If you are a medical provider, as in some level of doctor slash, you know what medical provider means if I'm speaking to you, and you want to understand how you can give out medical cannabis cards or assist your patients or answer their questions, or you have questions about what it is to participate in the program, utahgrown.co has that information for you, including continuing education. So head on over to utahgrown.co and check them out. All right, let's get started. So today is one of those days. I'm pretty much banking on a slow news week, which is what it's been ever since. Slow news week to me. You know why? Because I was kind of caught up in the whole ESPN, what's going on over there. Um, but I'm not going to get into it today. I am going to tell you that I do have an album release party coming up. This is for an artist named Kyle Prater. He is a former NFL player turned media artist, producer, film person, personality. He's basically evolved as an individual and gone from one space into the next. And this album is kind of a musical journey following his evolution. If you're interested in coming, this show is going to be at Kiln, Kiln, down south, Provo area, and it's going to happen on February 28th in the evening. I will put the details in the description. Um, I bring that up because evolution is on my mind. And maybe celebrityship is on my mind right now. There was a list that came out, and I have it here in front of me, and it was called A List of Celebrities Who Are Holding On to Their Career by a Thread. And then they just listed off like 10 celebrities that they think are hanging on to their career by a thread. One of the people on the list was Dwayne Johnson, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Now, I'm thinking about him because I haven't seen the movie Moana yet, but I do want to see the movie Moana. Let me tell you this has nothing and everything to do with the movie Moana. First of all, I have a sister named Moana. So, by virtue of my sister's name, we already honor that space. She loves that movie Moana because her name is Moana. And I love my sister. Easy sell, right? But the first time I saw Moana, and I know that the live action is going to follow almost the exact progression as the original movie Moana, not the second one. So I don't have to guess what the storyline is. I just have to see how they put it together as a live action. But I remember the first time I saw the movie Moana, it took me all the way back to the original Johnny Lingo. Do you remember Johnny Lingo? Johnny Lingo had a cow traded for an ugly wife. Johnny Lingo's married now. He'll be sorry all his life. And then they go, and they run off. And I was just like, as a child, first of all, that movie was filmed around Laie, Hawaii. Um, as a child, I grew up in that area, played on those beaches all the time. It was just walking distance from my house, right? So I recognized the area. A lot of the people in those films went to college with my parents, or they, were friends with my parents. So this was all very familiar. And as a child, I didn't quite pick up on what was unsettling about Johnny Lingo. When I got older and I served as a missionary, and I could only watch church films while I was out and about, I got a hold of a copy of Johnny Lingo, which, as a child we had memorized front to back. Johnny Lingo. Mahana, you ugly. Come down from that tree. Anyway, that was Bishop Aquin, I think, who played that role. As I watched it as a grown folk, I said, every single island is showing up in this movie. Where is this supposed to be happening? What's like, who are these guys? They have the wedding, and you can see the Tahitians in the back, and you can see just basically, I never knew where Johnny Lingo was supposed to be. He was just supposed to be on the high seas, and he landed somewhere. And I could never actually determine what island he was on. And at that point, when I looked at it, I could not understand why somebody would go to such great lengths for this kind of inclusion, because this kind of inclusion was confusing. It was just confusing. And I don't know what it is. I think most Polynesians that I've ever talked to about this, they don't care. They don't care that there's like a million different islands being shown as one group, because they see it as positive representation for the collective. I think I was more confused because maybe confused is not the word. I just remember growing up and just knowing. Now I get that this is a generational thing, and this definitely has something to do with my generation and not necessarily the generations that came after me, and not 100% the generations that came before me, although they did set the tone. But there was always a distinction between this country and this country and this country. It was like, we're not the same country. We're not the same people. We don't have the same language 100%. We don't have the same traditions 100%. We don't have the same genetics 100%. And I don't know how I grew up with such a strong sense of we are from the same area, but we are different people. Like, a broader example would be like if somebody was from Central South America, Mexico. There's a very big difference between all those countries, difference between those cultures. And I know that generally people get them lumped together and refer to them as Hispanic, and then plenty of people can't tell one culture apart from another. And it's aggravating, right? Same with Asian countries. A lot of people here in the US can't tell the difference between people from one place to the next and lump them together. Aggravating. So I think that that's what it was actually. You know what? Now that I'm talking about it out loud, I think that's what it was. Is growing up in Hawaii and people really wanting to be defined by their cultural heritage and by the destinations they came from and that brought them to Hawaii, because when we lived in Hawaii, it was because my parents were in college, and the college they went to was BYU Hawaii. That is a place where the diaspora meets, and people very much are like, this is where I'm from. I'm very proud to be this and that, and I think that maybe just stuck in my mind. So I wasn't turning that corner real fast when I saw Johnny Lingo, and I was like, everybody here is doing something from totally different countries, and it's the same wedding. And where are we? And who are these people supposed to be? And with all this broken and fob English, which country are we trying to represent? But at the end of the day, it kind of sort of didn't matter, right? I think I'm the only person who really hung on to like, what is happening here. It might also be my brain's inability to turn a corner on some things. I feel the same way about Moana, though. I understand the importance of representing the region, representing what the different cultures um, might bring to the table, essentially. Something like that. I still just find it a little bit much to throw all these people and lump them in together and say, hey, they're all the same. Because very much inside the group, they are not the same. They are different cultures, different thoughts. There is an overall culture, but it's not, I'm just telling you, it's just not the same. I think I like to honor the differences between people, and that's probably where I get hung up. Now, even though the second one is not part of the discussion, it's not on the table, I really was only starting with Dwayne The Rock Johnson and celebrities who might be like at the end of their careers. Um, the second one had me in tears almost right out the gate. Like the story just made sense. But at the end, I was like, why are we coming for the Fijians like that? What did they do? I have never, and maybe it's because I don't know enough stories about like the great myths and legends from Fiji. I don't know as many of their stories. In fact, I don't think I know any of their stories. I know stories from Samoa, I know stories from Tonga, from Hawaii, from New Zealand. I don't know stories about the Fijians, so I don't know who the good guys and the villains are in their, in their mythology. Anyway, at the end of the second Moana, when like they teased that this guy that Maui's gonna go up against is Fiji, and I was like, man, that's not even right. Still gonna watch the third Moana whenever it comes out. But now the live action, I think the only thing that I can complain about before I even see the movie is the wig. I'm just not loving it. I just feel like this is 2000. No, 2000 is the wrong way to say it. 2026. And we have got wig technology to the point where you don't have to have hair to look like you have hair. You can get a wig so good that it looks like it's coming out of your scalp. Disney has big, big budgets. Also, most Polynesians don't have hair like the wig they came up with for DJ. You know what I'm saying? Most Polynesians don't have that kind of hair. I think I ascribe that kind of hair to people who have a lot of mixing from other cultures, or not cultures, but ethnicities. Then it'll tame the hair. I wish they could have just done big crazy hair on Maui. And maybe when I watch the movie, maybe it'll be more fitting somewhere in there. But I doubt it. I doubt it. So I'm not going to complain about the movie. I'm just going to say hair and makeup. Just from way out here, hair and makeup. But I was not actually going to talk about Moana. I was just talking about that list that I saw of celebrities who may be at the end of their careers. Which, do I think that's true? I don't. I think that every celebrity, if they've made it to stardom and they've made it to a place where they've got a spot in our heart and we care about what they're doing, it's because they've sold us some good that we want to hold on to. I think Dwayne The Rock Johnson, I think one of the things that he has done well is to be able to sell the concept of motivation and hard work. That's what I think like are his bigger things. He does seem like he has kind of a sterilized image at this time. Um, and he's very careful about things. I remember when he ran for president, man, I couldn't get over it. Or he didn't run for president. I'm sorry. I said that wrong. He was thinking about throwing his hat in the ring. And every time that that subject would come up, that man had glasses on. At this point, I don't think he can actually see. But at that point, I was like, you are putting on glasses to look smarter. Friend, do it a different way, because I don't think that's working. That was about the time that the fires were happening in Hawaii, and like The Rock and Oprah got online, and they have their millions and billions, and they're asking everybody to donate to this relief fund, which didn't curl all the way over. People did not take kindly to millionaires slash billionaires asking regular folks to donate to this fund relief, or this relief fund. Let me say it the right way. But I remember he would put on glasses to look smarter. I don't know if that was okay. How about this? I'm speculating that he put on glasses to look smarter. But if you've done any PR work, you understand that the persona you have to give if you need people to trust your opinion is that you're smarter. And one way that we make people look smarter is that we give them glasses. It doesn't say I'm blind, it says I'm smarter. Anywho, I didn't think that that image really took off, but now I see The Rock wear glasses all the time, and it makes me just think he's just getting older and his eyes don't work as well as they used to. And that's just based on personal experience. My eyes don't work as well as they used to, but I don't want to wear glasses. Anyway, concerning the longevity of Dwayne The Rock Johnson, I actually think he's going to be fine. I still think he's very predictable and very reliable. Do you remember back in the day when we would watch Kevin Costner? I'm not talking about Yellowstone days. I'm talking about any project that Kevin Costner had. prior to Yellowstone. Kevin Costner just played Kevin Costner. When he was Robin Hood, when he was, and I don't even remember his movies. I just remember everything I saw him in. He was Kevin Costner, and he was in a new setting. Dwayne is similar to that. He does play different characters, but those characters are predictable because he seems to play those characters the same. And it's not a problem. We all still enjoy it. We all still go to the box office to check him out. He's still, got, like, really seriously, if you think about him in, what was that paddle boat movie that he did for Disney? If you think about him there, and then you think about him in like the Fast and the Furious franchise, he was just a little bit more mad in the Fast and the Furious franchise, but he was the same guy. And if you think about him in, I'm gonna say Turner and Hooch. I know that's not what it was. It was still part of the. How about this in Jumanji? The Rock in Jumanji was very similar to The Rock in The Rundown. Just in The Rundown, he was more mad. See? That's it. So it's not that he plays himself like Kevin Costner did. I think it's more that he plays a very similar character. And it's predictable. And we like it because we know what we're going to get. We know we're going to smile through whatever he puts out. And if we don't smile because he's being tough, we know that we're going to feel like, oh, I'm tough like The Rock, even though we will never say that out loud. And also, we are probably not tough like The Rock. Somebody else who made the list, Nicki Minaj. I feel a type of way about Nicki because some songs I really love of hers. I enjoy Nicki's music. But when Nicki goes off the rails, I'm like, you are so far away from where this train was going. How are we gonna get your little car back on the track? How are we gonna do that? And she's done so many things where I'm like, I'm low key. I don't even care what's happening here. But I still remember Nicki from back in the days where she would talk about the pickle juice. Do you remember that? If you go somewhere and somebody gives you pickle juice and you drink the pickle juice, right? She was like, you don't just accept any treatment from anybody. I remember those days, and she said crazy things, but she was more relevant with the crazy things that she said, and even her indignation was more relevant. But she didn't move into that auntie phase real well. That's a hard one. I For a long time, if you were not my actual niece or nephew and you called me auntie or auntie, depending on which side of the world you're coming from, man, I wanted to fight you in the streets. I'm like, don't, don't. I'm not there yet. Now I'm like, I kind of don't care if you call me auntie. Um, Even though in my mind it's like the Johnny Lingo thing, I can't turn the corner. I'm like, I'm not your auntie, but I don't mind if people call me auntie. Uh, so I get why it was hard for Nicki Minaj. It was hard for Lil Kim to turn that corner. Who else was there? Foxy. I feel like Lil Kim, Foxy Brown, and Nicki Minaj were three artists, all in slightly different timelines, who could not accept that they are no longer the newest thing. And they had a hard time just like being praised as an icon and allowing the younger generation to come up under them. I don't think Cardi B is going to struggle with that because she already is in line with like putting people on and pumping people up. But yeah. I think if Nicki could have accepted a change in position a little bit, she still could have been putting out the best music. She still could be doing whatever she wants, but she didn't want to move into that auntie phase, and that's what started half her fights with everybody, internally and then externally. You could fight me in the streets. I'm not changing my mind. Who else was on that list that I thought was kind of crazy? There's Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds is going to find a way to be relevant because he just is kind of crazy and he's kind of crass. And it works especially for the Marvel Universe and where he wants to be there. But I think Blake Lively actually tore down the brand because she's got mean girl energy. And then when she tried to not come off as a mean girl and come off more as like a victim, it didn't work. it didn't work because she played the victim card for a little bit and then got nasty. And I was like, well, okay, wait, did people do you dirty or are you mean? Because they're saying you're mean, but for a hot second, I thought they were doing you dirty, and now I can see you're mean. The thing about it is to be a mean girl in the national, headlines and in the eyes of the people, it just doesn't curl over. Be mean, and not even behind the scenes. Be mean in spaces where we'll never know that you're being mean. Like we'll never find out. Because if you are mean in public spaces, that looks like entitlement, and nobody likes that. Nobody likes a mean girl. Um, I was gonna say be mean behind the scenes, but that's what Ellen DeGeneres did, and that absolutely ruined her empire, which is crazy because she used to be so funny and so nice, and then when people are like, it actually sucks to work for her, I thought, man, Ellen, that's too bad. Uh, I don't feel that bad for celebrities who lose anything because there's plenty of opportunity. I mean, I really think that the public is very forgiving of a lot of things. We'll let you turn a corner. We'll let you change your persona a little bit. We'll let you make mistakes and still allow for you to come back and be like, oh, that was wrong. Um, I don't know what happened with Ellen that she just could not beat that rap. She could not. Look at Martha Stewart. Martha Stewart was never known as this super friendly woman. Nobody ever said, "Oh my gosh, she's so sweet." And you can tell when she's talking that that woman is all about like, if I said we're doing it this way, that's the way we're doing it. And yet there is still space in the public heart for Martha Stewart. I think a big part of it though was that she was smart about her branding. She made best friends with Mr. Snoop Dogg, and he also made friends with her, and that friendship was so unlikely and so curious and interesting and fun that both of them, like that relationship, covered a multitude of sins. Now, here I am going off about celebrities that I don't know personally. I should. Me and DJ, we should be friends. Although I'm not very nice when I talk about him, and I really do think he puts on glasses to look smart, and I'm not 100% loving that. Listen, you're great at what you do. Okay, I'm leaving it alone. Um, but I always wonder, like, I think about these guys and then I think about, okay, what is everybody selling? What is the product that is you? I have a friend and she owns a bunch of businesses, right? And I love to talk to her and I love to partner with her. And from the first time that I met her, she was so friendly to me. I was in a space where I didn't recognize a lot of people, but there were like thousands of people there. And I was trying to get acclimated and she's like, come sit by me right here, just sit. And I was like, oh, okay. And internally, like I was weeping over her kindness, right? She was so nice to me for no reason. Um, she was eating and she's offering me her food for like I know this lady from nowhere. And she didn't even know who I was. I remember I sat by her. I was probably sitting by her for 15 minutes and she's just talking and being nice to me. And then at some point, like it clicked in her mind because um, I'm more widely known from radio. Nobody sees your face in radio. You just talk, 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 and then you get off the air and you go do whatever. And she recognized, like she had sat there with me for 15 minutes talking to me, being friendly, and then my voice clicked in her mind, and she's like, "Oh, I know who you are." And I was like, "Ha! What does that mean?" Because you know, I I work in radio. I don't know who listens to the radio. That's all I'm saying. Um, but let me tell you about this woman and the product that she is selling. I see she was so kind to me, which is what allowed me to be in her inner circle. But she's a networker. She is nice to anybody, and it doesn't matter if you deserve it or not. She will still be kind and welcoming to you. And I have seen her space, like when I'm around her and we're out in public, everybody comes by, whether they are really well known and they kind of have like even a local celebrity status or even larger than that, they love her. But then after that, people in the community, they love her. And she low-key has this like godfather-like persona. She's not doing anything. It is the way that people react to her. They come to her in a way to almost kiss the ring. And there's a reason why. Her willingness to love everybody and to make everybody feel welcome um, is to me a big part of her success, right? People then want to be around her, but she's also very good at continuously putting the word out. So as she puts the word out about this is happening and that is happening and we're doing this and we're doing that, and she's loving, people start to think, man, you know everybody. Man, you're everywhere. Man, how come people always show up for you? And they begin to build this story in their mind about who she is. And the story that they've built in their minds, and I can see it when I'm around observing, is that she's elite. Is that somehow she has a secret hold on this community and that people respond to her. And then I see this is the most interesting thing that I catch is when the haters come by. And I know a hater from 1,000 miles away. You don't have to be up close. All you have to do is be a hater, and that vibe goes out just like that. That vibe says, I'm not here to support you. I'm here to see what you're doing and to try to take it from you. And I'm going to smile in your face, and I'm going to be a friend to your face. But as soon as I get out of here, I'm going to steal all your ideas, and then I'm going to try to create something similar to yours. And then when I come out, I'm going to act like I'm better than yours. I have seen this with, like, it's insane to me how many people I have seen come into her space to observe, to take, and then they go back and they try to recreate the same thing, and it flops every single time. And by the way, I've been watching this happen for 3 years now. I met her 3 years ago. And people who come into her space and they have the wrong spirit about them, they come in as like with eyes of envy and jealousy. And then they go back and they do things. Flop. People don't show up to their events. They put on a lot of things that are very self-serving, as in like, I'm throwing this party, but this party is all about me. That works for some people, but it doesn't work for everybody. You gotta know how to pull that off. And I see people try to pull it off, and it doesn't work. I think part of it is the hater energy. Like, you cannot recreate a genuine spirit if you hate that genuine person and you're just trying to outdo them. Because then you're not being genuine anymore. You're being a hater. And haters generally never prosper. I always leave that small margin for just in case they do prosper, but haters never prosper. That's just how it goes. Anyway, my point is what she is selling is a safe space. That's really what it is. She is equated with the protector and a safe space. It's not like a safe space and somebody else has to protect her too. She is that protective energy, and I love it. So then you got to think about, like, what are you selling? What is the product that is you? My favorite thing is when Wendy Williams said, oh, I understand celebrity culture or popular culture. I don't remember the exact quote, but she's talking about J-Lo, which she did all the time. Don't get mad at me. J-Lo can't sing, and if you think that J-Lo can sing, you're deaf. That's just the bottom line. What J-Lo can do is be hotter than hot. What J-Lo can do is dance. What J-Lo can do is be everything that we're just not on a regular basis, right? I mean, she's pulling from when she started her rise to fame, like after In Living Color, when she wasn't just one of the background dancers and she started to be somebody, and she was Jenny from the Block. Remember, she had Mr. Affleck, she had Mr. Diddy, she had Mr. Mark Anthony, she had Mr. What's his bucket? Baseball player. I'm going to say A-Rod. She had them all. She had them all. And you know why? Because she's hot. And she stays hot. And that's aspirational, right? I think that most women could probably admit that if they could be as hot as J-Lo and consistently hot, then they would be. They wouldn't fight it. But plenty of us don't look like J-Lo. And so if you're anything like me, we fight it. I mean, there's nothing to fight. I don't look like J-Lo, so that can't possibly be the product that I'm selling, is what she's selling. She's selling aspirational hotness. I'm selling, get ready with me. I don't know. But just consider at some point, what are you actually putting back out into the world? That's all. Who are you? What do you represent? And I'm never going to stop saying this. DJ, Dwayne, The Rock Johnson, putting on glasses doesn't make you look smarter.